Hey guys, thanks for joining me tonight. I wanted to do a quick video on the merits of the Altoids tin and why I think they're actually, pretty handy pieces of gear. A super important piece of my layering system anyway. I know there's a lot of people who just knee-jerk reaction say Altoids tins, there's no use in them. And what they'll go ahead and say normally is that it just doesn't provide enough usable resources to keep you safe in a backcountry emergency. And I agree wholeheartedly. A Altoids tin alone is not optimal for a backcountry emergency of any sort. But what I will say is this: it's usable gear that's on your person. And if you're separated from better gear, it's going to go a long way in keeping you safer. And I would say, I'm here at 9,500 foot in the middle of the Rockies. A lot of the year, if I just had that Altoids tin, it would get me through a night, assuming I was dressed correctly, I guess you would say. Is that optimal? Absolutely not. Is it a guarantee of keeping me safe? Absolutely not, guys. There's no guarantees in life. But it would go a long way in keeping me safer in the backcountry. So, I think they have their merit. I did a little exercise. I went ahead and threw together, let me see here. There we go. Just a little simple mint tin. This is not an Altoids tin, guys. This is significantly smaller. But I just threw basically three main components in this thing. And with just these three components, I want you to ask yourself, if I just had that in a, backcountry overnighter or two that I wasn't planned on, would that actually keep me safe? And more importantly, would it go a long way in keeping somebody safe who maybe isn't into outdoor skills or bushcraft, that sort of thing? Maybe it's just the person who came in, I've 9,500 foot here in the Rockies. A lot of times people come, they'll drive 4 or 5 hours up to where I'm at so that they can go walk their dog on a Saturday afternoon down a beautiful trail, that sort of thing. Or maybe they'll come in to go fly fishing in the summer. During the fall, they're coming in to go hunting. But a lot of times they're coming in from the suburbs and they don't have the same skill set that me and you would normally have. They also don't have the resources. So, I'm going to go ahead and go through this. You tell me whether it's enough usable resources to help you stay safer through, like I say, that overnighter. But before I do that, guys, I want to say one thing. The idea of an Altoids tin emergency kit, it's not a new thing by any stretch of the imagination. I've been carrying one for about 25 years at this point in time. And to go back farther than that, I would say, for generations, militaries have been using these things, that for the same reasons we are, to have usable gear in a pocket, in a little tin or whatever the case is. Yes, it's going to be a little bigger than your Altoids tin, but it's the same thing. It's small enough to fit in a pocket, and it's intended that should they be separated from their better resources, they've got something while they're on the move to keep them safe, to stave off hypothermia and that sort of thing, as well as some basic signaling and navigation gear. So it's not like they went ahead and used those things for 20 years or whatever the case was, and decided that it's just a bankrupt concept that isn't doing them any good. Guys, it's still in use around the world today. So I think the knee-jerk reaction of just saying they're always bad is really not what you want to do. And I would go farther and say, if you put the same requirements on an Altoids tin that you do on your day bag, a lot of times you're going to see your day bag fall short too. Because I wouldn't want to be trapped in the backcountry with just my Altoids tin. But I also wouldn't want to be trapped in the backcountry with just your day bag, or a lot of people's day bags, I guess I would say. Maybe not everybody's. But because, in the environment where I'm at in particular, you might have you have your cool little space blanket, and that's awesome. And you might have, some other minor shelter gear or whatever. But, I want a down sleeping bag. And if you don't have a down sleeping bag in that day bag, then I don't know. I still don't want to be spending the night out here if I don't have to. So, same way with, medical concerns. Well, you didn't throw any medical, gear in this thing. I didn't throw any medical gear in it. But I'll be honest with you and say your typical boo-boo kit that you have and yours is not going to take care of a lot of the problems that you might find yourself in the backcountry. And it's not going to, fix you around until you can get back to, good medical facilities. So for that reason, I guess where I'm just going with it is, yes, a day bag's always better. Have a day bag. Have good kit on you. Have great kit in your pockets. But if you don't, for whatever reason, if you're separated from it, that little Altoids tin a lot of times is going to go a long way in keeping you safer. So I'm going to go ahead and start walking through this. Like I say, this is a lot smaller than your typical Altoids tin, but we're going to go ahead and walk through it. Beyond that, guys, I'm going to say this. One thing I really like about the Altoids tins in general is it compartmentalizes your kit and it keeps it with you. A lot of times you might not want a pound of garbage floating around in your pockets loose, but if you throw it in an Altoids tin, it's always going to ride with you. And so, for that reason, it has some merit also. I've just got a little Ranger band there that was keeping everything together. Guys, I went ahead and throw in just a simple button compass. Are they optimal? Absolutely not. Are they better than nothing? I believe so. It's the reason why the military kits have carried them for years. Good thing about them, guys, is it gives you a general sense of direction. A lot of people, the person coming in fly fishing, the person, who's coming in to walk their dog, maybe just do a day hike, whatever the case is, to this area. Guys, if you gave them a $200 compass and a map, a lot of time that's not going to do them any good because they don't have the skill set that you do. So what it will do, however, is, when they get out, whether they're looking at my button compass or they're looking at your $200 compass, they're going to be able to look at that thing and they're going to go, I'm heading, as I'm leaving my vehicle at the lake, I'm heading out, I'm heading out north. So that means I got to be heading due south when I head back, So for that reason, I think they have a lot more merit than a lot of people tend to give them credit for. So, that's just me. All right, after that, I've got several pieces of tinder. I've got 2 pieces of waterproof tinder. Those are basically cotton balls mixed with petroleum jelly. They're in a, drinking straw, sealed off so they're completely watertight. And then I've got like another 5 pieces of, tinder quick. So I don't know if any of that's showing up, but yeah, there you have that. Plenty of tinder, guys. Assuming somebody's got any knowledge of how to build a fire, and if they've taken 15 or 20 minutes to learn how to use a simple little spark rod like this thing here, little magnesium fire steel kind of deal, if they've got a little starter like this that gets some positive spark, plus they've got some good tinder here, they should be able to make fire. Like I say, if they practiced at all, assuming they know how to build a fire. So we're back to, please get some skills, please carry good gear. But not everybody's necessarily going to be at the same level you are either. But that guarantees pretty much a method of starting a fire. After that, I've got a pretty convenient method of starting a fire that everybody's very familiar with, which is just your simple Bic lighter. And there you go, it works. There we go, we know it works. I know it works. Well, it works when it's not windy. How about that? There you go. So you've got an easy method of starting a fire that everybody is familiar with. And then after that, the only thing that I've chosen to add to this thing would be just a simple little pocket knife, guys. Carry a bigger, better pocket knife in your little emergency tin. Beyond that, carry a belt knife on your person. But have good cutting tools with you. But even if this was all you had with the fire starting gear, with the compass, you're not going to freeze to death overnight, assuming you're dressed appropriately, most likely. Obviously there's no guarantees in life, so I'm not going to give you one. But, assuming that you're dressed appropriately, nature's working with you a little bit, and, inclement weather isn't just rolling through real bad, you're probably going to be able to snuggle up next to a fire, stay warm overnight, be here in the morning, or, use that little compass to find your way back. One thing that I didn't have that would fit in here, I've got a little bigger compass. So a little bigger, whistle. In my pocket right now, I actually carry a small mirror. That'll fit in your Altoids tin. So some decent little signaling gear wouldn't be a bad choice. But basically where I'm at, guys, I just wanted to do this kind of as an exercise to remind us that, a little gear on your person is better than no gear. And it's definitely better than, a whole room full of gear at your house where it's not doing you any good. So just something to consider. By all means, though, carry good gear, carry plenty of gear, carry the best gear you can, and have some skills to go with it. Guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate you hanging out with me for a little bit. I value the time we spend together here. Feel free to go check out some of my other YouTube videos. I've got quite a few of them on Altoids tins. That's kind of just getting into the YouTube thing, and that's kind of been the first place I've started because it's an important piece of my layering system. So I've kind of started there, but I'll be doing a lot of knife reviews, a lot of camp gear reviews, and probably showing you some pretty beautiful locations also. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Go ahead and hit that like button. Feel free to subscribe. Ring the bell if you want to be updated, when I put out new content. Thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.